I think that those will make some awesome shows as far as what people want to hear. Those topics are some of the ones that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in hearing. So,
Yeah. Plus, they get to the point.
yeah, they get directly to the point and should answer a lot of questions for our listeners. Let's go ahead and get this one kicked off before we run out of time.
Yeah, gone by like 4:45.
Yeah. And welcome to the Girls Ask Guys show. We are your guidebook to modern dating and relationships. We show you the opportunities you could be missing and how to avoid the pitfalls in today's relationship world. So today we're going to be discussing choosing your partner. But before we jump back into that, we want to give you a quick reminder that if you are ready to get ahead in your love life, visit our sponsor, iknowcupid.com. We also want to thank Chloe Adams for letting us use her song, Kiss Chase, as our new theme song. So let's talk about choosing your partner versus, they look good right now.
Well, I think let's start with the concept of this. Don't get us wrong. There is a time and a place where if somebody looks good, you go for it. All right?
Right.
COVID's been a little rough. People are a little more lonely. And sometimes you just need to scratch an itch. And that is okay.
Yes. There's a difference between choosing somebody and somebody coming up and saying, you want to go out? And you say yes or no. Because in that situation, you're an either or decision maker. It's kind of like saying, do you want extra fries with that? Sure. Sounds good. Versus choosing to actually be with somebody. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. And we're going to be getting this branches off into so many different areas, but these are little tiny tidbits, the little things you need to pay attention to because they make a huge difference in your relationship later on.
Like I said before, guys, I just want you to remember when we're talking about choosing a partner, we're talking about a romantic partner. We're not talking about necessarily somebody who you saw at the club you want to take home. That's completely different scenario, completely different topic. We're talking about making a lifelong connection that you're excited about making. Not something that is we've been dating for X amount of years, so we might as well or you're excited about this person. So here's really kind of how we want to get into this. Number one, our long-term choices for romantic partnerships are important, of course. It's important because for the obvious reasons you're spending the rest of your life with that person. That's also the person you may or may not have kids with. That's the person who's going to help you make altering life decisions. So you want this person to be important, right?
Right. And you don't want to just kind of go down a checklist. Now, I know over the past 3 seasons, we've kind of been going over the traits that we look for. And yes, those traits are important because that's our compatibility. The more of those traits that somebody has, the more compatible I know I will be with somebody, so long as they have at least 4 core traits. Now, if they have more than that, the more compatible they're going to be. But that's not why I choose them. I choose them because I want to be with them. There's a difference. And according to the psychology and the research that was done, the research that I came across was an add-on to other research that was done. And what they did was they validated the previous research. So when they sat down with these people and then they looked at the relationships that they had and how long they had been in a relationship, they asked a few questions. And everybody that had a very successful relationship, when they said, why are you with that person? The responses that came back, the person that really didn't decide and they were just doing a yes-no choice, those responses were more of, this is what that person does for me. Mm-hmm. And when they looked at the more successful relationships, those responses were more, this is why I want to be with them. This is what I bring to the relationship, and this is how we develop the relationship.
So you guys see how that works? When you're in a relationship that you want to be in, it's more we and how I can improve it focused versus when you are just kind of, I don't want to say you hate the relationship, but maybe you're kind of going through the motions in a way where it's just, I think before the show we said you were basically settling or you're becoming complacent. And so when you're in that, it's like, oh, well, they do this for me. There's no we. you've completely taken out the we concept of this relationship. And so if you look back on your relationship, because I want you to really look at it. I want you, if you have a partner and you guys are sitting here listening to this together, think about that. Is it more we-based or is it more individually I or you-based? How does that work? And if you find it to be more complacent or more settling, maybe you guys want to work on it.
You want to look at this in a Benjamin Franklin type pros and cons. So when you look at your relationship, is it more critical or more supportive? Is it more undependable or is it more reliable? Or one or both of you more self-absorbed, or are you attentive to the other person? Intolerant versus accepting, demanding versus tolerant, lack of empathy versus being a good listener. Those things. Possessive or respectful, controlling or cooperative. The list keeps going on. And if that's what you're looking at, and it might not be the entire relationship, it could just be this one single area where they aren't accepting of it and they're very intolerant of whatever that one area is. I don't know, cleaning the house. I'm not cleaning up, that's your job. It's those little things that can actually lead to major problems further down the road.
Yeah. And things like that are things that need to be addressed in the beginning. If you guys first move in, and as soon as they say, oh, I'm not doing that, that's your job. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a it's your job kind of person, unless it's something I genuinely hate doing, like dishes. But I've already weaseled that person into doing dishes forever to begin with. But basically, if it's something like that, you want to make sure you address these red flags. Because again, you don't have to start out, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, like you don't have to start out in a complacent relationship. You can start out excited to be together.
Yeah, and as days, weeks, months, years wear on, it goes from wanting to be touched every single day and wanting to touch them and wanting to do things for them to, what do you want to watch tonight?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing where the passion, and we've discussed this last season and I think even before the season before that, where there's the desire and that desire starts to fade. And my favorite thing to say, the last thing you stroke going to bed and the first thing you stroke waking up is your phone.
Yeah.
Swipe on, set the alarm, swipe off. Night, there's no passion there.
Right.
And that's what can happen if you're not choosing. Like literally sitting there going, I choose you because I want to be with you. This is what I want to do for you. So you're coming in and you know what you bring to the relationship and you're bringing it 100% rather than, yeah, they like sports. Cool. That's
yeah, that's so funny.
We're 100% compatible. We both like the same NFL team.
Right. Yeah. Until that team loses, right? And then you guys are fighting because of the friggin' defense. But that's clearly too shallow of something for you guys to bond over. But it's the truth. Like, we're compatible because we like the same NFL team. Like, how long is that going to last? Especially if you're like a Dolphins fan or something. Not great.
I don't know. NFL's all over the casino floor and all the big screen TVs, and I still don't know who's leading.
What do you mean? I'd see, let's go Falcons always, all day, baby. Let's go Falcons. But I would never date a Falcons fan.
I keep up with Formula One.
Oh my God. You would. You would keep up with that. Doesn't even shock me.
Well, it's just a lot easier to keep up with.
They're just going in a circle, Josh. They're just going in a circle.
No, that's NASCAR. NASCAR is left turn only.
Yeah.
Formula One goes to different countries and different tracks.
Yeah. The Monaco and shit, right? Did you go to Monaco?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the really expensive cars that can only be driven on tracks.
Yeah, you have to have the reflexes of a fighter pilot, and your body has to be in the condition of an Olympic athlete.
Yeah, I mean, I believe football is the same way. Like, you have to literally be in great condition and have great reflexes. You just don't go to Monaco. You just go to Dallas.
Yeah, but they're not driving cars at 200 miles an hour.
No, they're being tackled by giant refrigerator-sized human beings. It's a little different.
Yeah,
it's
but
a little different.
Too many players, too many different teams. I mean, too many positions. I have 10 teams, 2 drivers per, so that's 20 people. And if they switch teams, it's usually just from number 2 team to the number 1 team.
It's a finite amount of teams, okay? It's not like we're adding new football teams every year. finite amount of teams. They've been the same team since you were a kid. You lived in Texas and you don't like football?
I kind of followed the Cowboys for a small period of time. And
Boy.
then you have the Oilers, and they're not even the Oilers anymore. The Oilers went to Tennessee and became the Titans.
Yes, they did.
And Houston was left with this great big huge stadium. They're like, we need somebody to play in there. So they came up with the Texans.
Texans.
Yeah.
They're not great. Not great. Not a great team.
Yeah.
But they try.
Yeah.
But the point of this is you can't be compatible with someone solely based on the football team or Formula One driver alone.
Or they like the same show. And Friends only ran for so long. I mean, I guess you can like The Simpsons. They've been on for, 40 years?
35 years? Yeah, 35 years, man.
Yeah. But still, you don't want to be shallow. You want to go in depth. And word of warning, don't go too in depth too fast.
Right.
That will get you into trouble. Listen to our first episode. I cover that. That was my downfall.
Slow it down.
Yes.
And that's something I think a lot of us, especially if you're not a shallow connecting kind of person, because a lot of people aren't. Like, you usually connect on something much deeper than football or formula or any of that shit. Like, you connect much deeper. So it's easy, very, very easy to sort of rush is a good word, a polite word to say. It's very easy to rush and to fall in love really quickly. So just slow it down.
Yeah, because you really don't want to sit there and just be making yes and no decisions, but really not choosing because you're not pursuing with an intentional goal of attaining a relationship with a person. So when you think about where you are in your life, a lot of our decisions are yes or no. Like, would you like to be my friend? Sure. Would you like to go have a drink? Okay. Would you like to live here? No. Okay. It's those kinds of answers aren't really saying you're consciously choosing where you are going.
Right.
You're not getting into the relationship and ending up feeling loved or valued.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel chosen. You're just kind of like, okay. And then later on, you're like, I guess I was just a consolation prize.
Sort of, yeah. Or it's mutual, where you both kind of you didn't choose each other. You guys are both just like, all right.
I think we covered that in a previous episode where you slide into the relationship instead of deciding. Right. And if somebody says or asks you, what would choosing your partner look like? Mm-hmm. And did you choose your partner? The people who had more need type based answers, it was, well, because he loves me, because he's a great provider, because she takes care of me. That's not the type of answer that is yes or no based. But when you take more of a secure, I chose this person, the response came back because I want to give myself to him or to her.
Right.
Because I want to love and cherish him or her. Because they are a beautiful person inside and out. So think of these more self-actualized, secure-based choosing versus, yeah, they're cool.
Right. They look really good in a tank top. Like, things like that. Okay, listen. If you're in college and you're not really looking for anything serious, by all means, go for the person who looks good in the tank top. By all means. It's college. Live a little bit before you decide to start settling down. But for those of us who are out of college, for those of us who are settling down, looking for people to settle down with, they're not always going to look great, that tank top.
Yeah. We're looking for a high level of consistency in the person that we want to have a relationship with.
Yeah.
We're not scared of that attachment. And at the forefront, it's more trust, safety, and security.
Absolutely.
We'll be getting more into that because I had a really interesting question. Somebody was asking me, how is it that I can stay friends and still have those connections with a lot of my exes? I asked one of the girls last night about that. And she really gave me some pretty good insights. And then, of course, I went diving down my rabbit hole and looking for research to back it up.
And by research, he means he went through a little black book of exes and asked all his friends who are exes and asked them. But yeah, no, seriously, because I'm the complete opposite. My passion burns like hot fire, and when it's out, baby, it's out. So I'm not friends with too many of my exes, and by too many, I mean, I think I'm friends with maybe one, and it's pretty shallow friendship. So it's a very good question. It's something we're definitely going to get into more, because this whole concept of settling down and choosing the right person, being chosen, because that's another part of it too, is allowing that person to also choose you. And you have to understand what it means to choose before you can be chosen, and you have to make a really good decision. And for some of you, like I said, if you're in college and you're just trying to see someone naked, don't think that hard.
That's a completely different topic there.
Right.
But if you're looking for something long term or something that can last a lifetime, you want that person feeling loved and valued. Right. There's no question in their mind of you are there because you want to bring something to them. And it's going to work in reverse. They will want to bring something back to you. So you have these two individuals that are going down their own paths, but when they come together, they form something different, something that lives on its own. And they're not going to end up feeling like you settled for them or they settled for you. And instead of getting first prize, they got a participation award.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And you'll learn as we go through this, as we talk about this more, it's an everyday practice. We're not saying that every day is going to be like super hot romance for the rest of your life. Like, slow down. Nobody has that kind of energy. Some days are longer than others.
This kind of goes along with our attachment styles, but you might want to listen into a future episode. I'm not sure where we're going to line this one up at, but how you attach and when you choose somebody and how that can affect your sex life.
Mm-hmm.
That one, yeah, when I read that research, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's wild, actually. And it makes a lot of sense, and it's a little offensive when we start talking about it out loud.
Yeah, it's one of those where if you're just not getting the fulfillment that you want out of it, it could be because of your attachment style and because you just kind of slid into this relationship instead of actually choosing that person.
Yeah.
I don't want to be blamed for an increase in divorce rates, though.
No, we should thank COVID for that, actually, John. So we're number 2 behind COVID on divorce rates. But again, that makes sense because a lot of people did not choose their relationships. They kind of just landed into them. And so now, think about it. When COVID hit, we had to spend an ungodly amount of time with people we live with, which a lot of us aren't used to. 6 hours a day with your spouse at 24. Now it's like, I kind of don't like you.
Oh, I know exactly where we ought to start that one off with. But we're going to have to do that in the next show because it's going to be a little bit long. We're going to start with this whole metaverse dating thing and this whole online dating thing and the relationships that form there. I can see how that's going to tie into this show and the follow-on shows after that. Ooh, this is going to get good.
It's going to be wild. Basically, what we're going to do is a series of choosing to be dating, which is something that we always kind of talk about, but we've never really sat down with you guys and said, hey, let's talk about how to take dating seriously. We've talked about how to start dating, what to do when you're in a relationship, but never really about buckling down on dating and what it means for you and what it means for your partner. So I guess we're going to call this series Buckling Down on Dating.
We've got world rated in 2021. Here it is, 2022. By 2023, we're going to have our own reality TV show with successful relationships.
Yeah. Because listen, again, what we can do for you is vastly different than what we choose to do in our own personal lives.
And it's just right now, I am so busy with everything else that, my romantic life's kind of taken a back seat slightly.
Yeah, as you guys know, I've gotten back into the dating world after a 3-season-long relationship, and so you guys will be hearing updates about that because I am now back to square one, baby. Back to square one. And so I'm going to be going through some of the stuff that we teach. I'm
still doing a lot of approaches and a lot of flirting, and I just need the married and engaged women to take a step back. I mean, it's nice, but you need to take a step back. I'm not going there.
Listen, I don't wreck marriages.
No, I'm not a marriage wrecker, and I'm not splitting up somebody that's decided that they want to get married. But as far as the singles are concerned, that's a different story.
Yeah. Single is fine. Single is preferable.
Single and of age is preferable.
Dating.
Yeah.
But as we continue our journey into taking dating seriously, because it seems like that's what we're both doing too now. So taking dating seriously, working on our approaches. I mean, because I'll tell you, pretty rusty at this game thing here. The game has changed in the last couple of years. That should be fun.
Yeah, and I'm able to see everybody's entire face and not just their eyes.
Oh, how deceptive.
Yeah.
Oh, how deceptive.
Yeah, but a few things have changed here and there, but it's really, when you take it down to the core basics, at least for me, not a whole lot has changed. My approaches haven't changed. My pattern breaks haven't changed. None of that has changed. The only thing that's really changed is, well, the time that I have available. That's the only thing that's really changed for me.
Yeah, time, and then I guess my dating style has changed. Like I'm no longer staying in the more shallow end of the pool, going for the deeper, more meaningful connections these days. You know, I'm getting in my old age. I'm turning 70 soon.
My thing is, I have to practice slowing everything down because I've been used to going real fast and taking that relationship really deep, real quick. And I was just spooking the hell out of everybody, unbeknownst to me, because I was like, hey, I know this works. I like this person. I want to be with this person. So let's take this thing to the 10th level, like right now.
Let's get married tomorrow. Right.
Well, I wasn't looking for that, but I wanted to get to know this person really quick. And all it did was, whoa, is this guy serious? There's got to be something wrong here. I mean, I was sending up unknown red flags. So 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, they're just like, this is too intense. And it's not that I was sending flowers and showing up on their doorstep and calling all hours. I was just very conscious of where I wanted to take this relationship, and they were just coming along for the ride.
Yep, exactly. And that's exactly what we need by choosing somebody and being chosen by somebody and like allowing yourself to be chosen. Because if John's doing exactly that, he's being clear about his intentions. He's saying, hey, this is what I want. This is what I think is happening. And this person's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's fine. Then they wake up 3 months later and they're like, wait, well, what the fuck?
Wait, why am I so in love with this guy so quick? This isn't supposed to happen. And those were the kind of responses that I was getting back. And when I went back and I was like, hey, what exactly happened? And they couldn't put their finger on it back then, but they could now. And they were like, it was intense. And it wasn't that I was intense. It was the feelings that they had were very intense. I'm building that into our course so that you don't make the same mistake that I've repeatedly made for several years.
Yes, that I am always making of being too intense. That's actually probably my middle name. I think all my exes can agree. Ashley, intense, is definitely a true story. So stay around for that.
Yeah, and you don't have to hear me constantly repeat, I'm too good to be true.
We need a shirt or something. Like, that needs to be on a shirt, because I think it's a staple of this podcast that John is too good to be true. I am what I would like to call...
I want to be too good to be true for the long term. Yeah.
I'm not... I'm too intense for school. You know, people are too cool for school. I'm just too intense for school. I think that's about it, right? That's what we got.
Yeah, I think that's a good wrap for this one. You're going to want to hear the next one, because we're going to talk about the metaverse and all of that good stuff, and how those relationships, they're not what you think they are.
No. The surprise that is the metaverse and dating is coming up for you. And I hope you guys listen. As always, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Girls Us Guys Show. It's going to be very fun. We want to thank you to everybody who supports us. If you like the episode and you think it would be useful to someone, make sure you share it. Tell your mom, tell your friend, tell everybody you know about the Girls Us Guys Show. If you really, really like the show, make sure you leave a review at podchaser.com. Make sure you leave a review, tell us how much you love the show. And of course, a huge thank you to Chloe Adams for letting us use her song Kiss Chase. Make sure you go check out Chloe. I'm sure she's streaming on every platform. And I am so excited for this season, guys. We're going to keep moving. If you have any questions, you want some coaching, or you just want to catch up with us, make sure you go to iknowcupid.com, visit our sponsor. And remember, the more you expect from yourself, the more you'll excel.
Exactly. And with that, we will talk to you on the next one.
I'm like, oh, I think I love you. I think I really, really do. But you got